Hey everyone, it's Adam. I'm back, and today I wanted to talk about watchlist tickers selection and kind of what variance you want to have between sectors when picking things for your list. So you can tell for yesterday, or today actually, I had Nvidia, being a semiconductor tech play, IWM being an index that acts a little bit differently from the SPY QQQ. BA for sort of a low volatility play, which actually has generally pretty cheap premiums but low IV. An energy play, since energy has been pretty strong, and then Baidu, which is a Chinese play. I like to keep different industries. It is Chinese tech. So, I tend to think of it a little bit different from, Neo, XPEV, but I tend to group Baidu, JD, Baba all together. And so I'll pick the one that I like the best out of those. Generally, I've liked playing Baidu a lot recently as far as the Chinese stocks go. This one has a little bit less volume than the others, so the charts might be a little bit tougher to read. There might be a little less volume in the chains, but when I've played it recently, it's gone fairly well. So I did like these, and what I want to talk about today is, how do I go about picking these tickers and making sure that I cover all of the bases when I am selecting the stocks to keep on my watch. So I know that I'm covering many different industries here, whether it be a different country, whether it be energy, could even be travel here, an index, and then semiconductors and tech. So also one thing I wanted to point out here, I actually had a comment on a tweet today saying, "Hey, this gapped up above your level. What did you just completely ignore the play?" So you can actually treat this just like a gap up. So for example, here, BA, with this being my call trigger, BA runs, okay, it breaks above it, it confirms, and it keeps running, boom, okay, and then it comes back down, and now that it's over this level, we can now use this call trigger for either direction. So if we get the retest, we can play the pop, which we did. We actually got the retest again and could have played the pop again. And then once you get that 5-minute candle confirming below, you're able to take the puts down there. So it's the same thing. It's just a pivot point, right? So if it bounces, okay, cool. If it bounces, great. You get that confirmation below with the 5-minute candle close, boom, you can continue to ride it down. You could have rode that thing down all the way to the put trigger, under the put trigger, and then back above and then back under. And you see you get a couple of retests here, so it gave you a couple opportunities to get in along the way. So very, very cool play there. This one just completely gapped up above my play. With this being the call trigger, it gapped up, making it a pretty tough one to play there. But it's crazy that ARK lost 10% today, probably because you and there was another one. Well, Unity Software had a very tough earnings. Anyways, let's get to this list. So I think number one on this list has to be Apple. Why? Because Apple broke that key 150 level. So what I'm thinking is, sure, this was a massive day for Apple. I mean, minus 5%, right? That doesn't happen. From high to low, Apple's going to be, about $4 usually. So if I'm going into the 15, I know that these triggers need to be about $1-ish away. I'm probably going to go somewhere around here because I want to give a little bit more space to the upside, knowing that the upside move is probably going to be harder to confirm. So I want to make sure that we're really getting that move and that we're really confirmed on it. So I'm going to go to the 5-minute just to make sure that I like this. And yeah, it touches there. Like, this may be a little bit out of the ATR, but I'm happy with it. And then when we get down to here, I mean, this will be a key level either way. If it gaps down, it's going to probably come up and touch this level. I think this is the level that we just have to go with if we're looking at this chart. Next one I want to look at is Chewy, probably because I can't believe I actually missed it today. Um, and then I want to take a look at AMD, and there's something special that I want to talk about with AMD. You notice it was only red, a percent. Nvidia was red 5%. So there was some relative strength here. So suppose we do get strength tomorrow, I think AMD could be a very solid contender for a long setup. So if we closed here, and let me get rid of that, I'll keep that one. So AMD is probably moving about $4 in any given day. So I would say I'm gonna just look for these wicks. I'm just looking for the bottom wicks, kind of the aggressive move areas. I'm thinking around this 86.70 area probably is where I would go with my put trigger. And then for calls, I'm thinking around 89.20. Again, I like this wick right here. I like these spots. This chart is nicely consolidated relative to other charts that we're seeing here, as in this took a pretty nice uptrend and then went into a downtrend, but actually still didn't close all that red. So I'm pretty happy with the way that AMD looks. I think it's a great chart. And then you take a look at the hourly and the daily. You're seeing that there is a lot of consolidation here. So suppose we get some sort of move like that. We have this supporting trend line. It's not very steep, but we do have it. And then here we have this trend line. So suppose we do get a move outside of one of these, I think it could be a solid play. So say we go here and maybe here, cut off a little bit of that, but hypothetically by the what is today? It would be the 12th. Yeah, the 12th we might get a break. We might get a break of either trend line. So having that extra confluence with the trend lines after zooming out, like my good friend Jeremy Conley on Twitter just said, trends are very important. You got to look for the trends, and then also if you can get that in tandem with these triggers, can be a really big play. So I think honestly, long side or short side, because the put trigger is closer to this trend line break, which would make me think, okay, that'd be a great short. But to the upside, I think could also be just as good of a move. It might take longer to develop. Now, Chewy is going to be a little bit tougher of a one to play because it kind of just died. So I think the only reasonable spot that I would look to go long on Chewy is probably over 24.70. And I think that's justified. I mean, that's a pretty tough level right there. Now I'm going to have to go way, way back. Just like Travis Scott said. This is... I could make it a little bit easier. I don't even know if it's going to show me it on the... One thing about TradingView that I'm not a huge fan of is if you zoom back on a lower time frame, it's just not even going to show you the chart. The chart just never comes up. So here, let me get a red line. I'm immediately noticing this wick, and it's at about, yeah, boom. I like it. There, red. So what I'm seeing here is just this wick right here. I mean, I'll go over here and check this too. Looks good. Now would it be better if I moved it lower? No, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a white line as a target. And that's a 50-cent target, so I'm really happy with that, honestly. Probably put one up there. But yeah, I like these levels for Chewy. And again, you notice how this top one, it gets respect here, gets respect here. I'm not really going to want to push that one closer since the move to the downside was so aggressive. It did build up some bear flags along the way. I don't want to force it to the upside. I want to be pretty careful. Just want to be smart. So now I'm looking for something. So I've got a tech name. I've got a e-commerce slash growth tech name. I've got another tech name with a semiconductor focus. So now I'm really looking for something that's not in the scope of the tech world. I want to cover more bases than that. So, in fact, I have so many XOM uh, ones on here. I'm just going to get rid of them. So, XOM probably makes this pretty easy with the gap. I'm thinking, yep, right here at about, oh, I do want the price label. Probably thinking right here, maybe around 88.13. It's a strong level here with the next stops coming pretty quickly. 80 cents there. Not bad. And then I'd probably go at the top of this. Boom, right there. And then to the downside, I'm thinking probably something along the lines of that. Again, the levels are, wow, look at how well. So this chart is pretty jumpy. So you know that levels are going to get respected. You just have to be careful. If for some reason it comes down to this put trigger and it bounces, you just have to be aware that, since these levels get so much respect over time, generally, in a more gappy chart, a lot of the Chinese charts look like this too. You just have to be careful when, like, you don't want to short right at the breakdown. You don't want to go long right at the breakout. Try to wait for that confirmation. Be extra patient with charts like these. That's sort of the way that I look at it. Now here I'm thinking I might want to go a little bit lower. Just a tad. Might go somewhere along the lines of 85.90. Now let me make this red. And then I wish that this one would be a little bit lower. However, I'm going to go with it. Yeah, about $3. Yeah, about $2.50 to $3. So, you would think maybe 50 cents away is enough. This is probably a little too far. So then I'll go here. I don't know, maybe 75 cents to $1. I'll probably go with 87.30-ish. Oh, and I love this level right here. Yep, because you see that wick, and then these. Yeah, it's perfect. And then these can just be price targets. So I'm good there. Now I want one more that isn't in any of the same dimensions that I was in. Wow, Mara closed below $10. That is absurd. That is absurd. Actually, I had Mara puts this over the weekend. That's crazy. Makes me think PFE. What about an EV? Maybe Square. Square's in a pretty tough spot. It really just nosedives. This could kind of give us some crypto exposure here. Look at all that volume today. I mean, this thing got really, really hit hard. So I would probably give my call trigger over 73.70. It's a no-brainer. And then here, I'm going to place it right down here. Go to daily. What's my usual daily looking like? Probably about $11, 14, 10. So I can be about $3 away. So I'm gonna have to scroll back pretty far for this one. Probably till March of May. Yeah, May of 2020. which is absurd. I think what I'm going to go with is the bottom of this gap. Go at this area right here. It doesn't look perfect right there, but I know that that level is going to get respected. I would definitely watch it as a possible bounce. But then under that, it gets pretty ugly. I mean, we get here. This is obviously a primarily downside watch for me. And you can see over time these levels get a lot of respect. And you see across there, same thing. I'll do one to the upside too there. Give a couple. There's one there. Cool. So these are my 5 plays. Square, Exxon, AMD, Chewy, Apple. And again, the important thing to me is just trying to cover a lot of industries. And the idea is that I'm seeing everything because I know that these things fall into different buckets. So if I see that Square is super weak, I'm going to go look at PayPal, Affirm, Upstart. I'm going to go look at the other financial services. If Exxon is strong, but maybe I don't like the setup as much, I'm going to go look at CVX, Phillips 66. There's several. What is it? COP, I believe, is one. What is COP? Conoco, yeah. So, you can kind of pick and choose to see if a different setup works for you. AMD, obviously, AMD, Micron, Qualcomm, Nvidia, they're going to act differently. As you can see, Nvidia was down 5.5% with AMD down 1%. Now, I think that gives me some good variability in the watch list because I know that AMD is acting semi-weird. So I'm fine having the weirdness there because I don't want my entire watch list to be short biased, right? That's the other thing. Like my watch list, I try to keep it all as neutral as possible. Obviously, Apple's a short, a favored short setup. Chewy pretty much dumped all day, so I would think that it could be a good long setup with given a relief rally. I mean, it tends to do that. AMD honestly could go either way. Exxon has been going up for a while. Maybe it could use a breather. Square again, just straight down into the gutters. So, I think that this is a very interesting watch list. I definitely consider it one that I think there's a lot of different plays, whether it be financials, energy, um, general tech, other kind of growth, or semiconductors. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of different things that we could see here, and that's the whole goal of it. The whole goal of a watch list isn't just to watch Facebook, Microsoft, and Apple every day, right? It's to get a glimpse of try to condense the whole market into 5 tickers that you think have ideal setups and then go from there, right? And say Exxon doesn't have a setup that you like one day, but CVX has a better one, then go with that. It's all based on personal preference and just kind of picking and choosing what you think looks good. Well, let's kill it Thursday. It's gonna be surely an interesting day after today. Very eager to see what happens. Have a good night.